I bet those glasses make you see better.
All right, I got to move it on. So, going to Lily, your notes.
My notes?
Yeah, your notes.
Oh, notes.
You did the 101 men in a day. When's the 1,000 scheduled for?
It was meant to do it here, but I actually got stopped at the border, and so I've decided against, because they were very much like, you know, if you do that here, you will be banned, and I would like to.
Wait, they said that?
Genuinely,
when you say the border, like when you flew in, or?
Yeah, so when I flew into Las Vegas, they stopped me at customs. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
And they kind of sat me down and they started like asking me questions, you know, what do I do and stuff like that. And they were
like, what's the nature? Like, why are you coming into the country? Business or pleasure? And you're like, both.
Yeah. And then, and then they started bringing up like my Pornhub, and they started finding articles, because my name is my real name as well. Mm-hmm. So it's like quite easy to see on my passport in comparison.
And they're like, we know why you're here.
Yeah.
We won't allow it.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
Yeah, basically. They said if you do
Did you say, what if you're one of the 1,000?
You know, they were so stern-faced. I was trying to make jokes like that and they weren't having any of it. Yeah.
Wait, so how willing are you when it comes to deportation?
I don't want to be deported, because I would love to like move here and live here.
Okay.
Yeah, for work. It's great.
I see.
So how'd you get in?
How did I get in? Well, they let me in. They said as long as you don't do it and stuff like that. And I think they were just more caught up on as well making sure I'm not a prostitute. I don't think they care so much about making content, more just like actual prostitution.
Sure. So I guess like what other hoodwinks and shenanigans have you been up to, Lily? What else?
Well, I did that 50-man anal gangbang.
Yep.
That was recent.
Anything else?
I'm doing a skydive where I saw a cock. I don't know.
I think you mentioned that.
I want to do like the largest bukkake ever, because I do love spunk.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
The what?
The largest bukkake.
Excuse me?
So it's like where you just like a cum bucket for a day. I've got lots of ideas, but I don't love to share them because I feel like you just never know. People might nick my idea.
She was the mouth that got away.
That's cool.
But I've got a lot of ambitious content. I really love to like push the limits of creating content and create content that people really haven't seen before.
What does like dad and mom think? Are they cool with it or no?
My dad and my parents.
Are they supportive?
It's interesting, really, because when I started OnlyFans, they were very supportive and stuff like that. And then when I told them I was getting into porn, it wasn't necessarily their first, like, they weren't like, yes, go on, suck that cock, you know. They weren't cheering me on, telling me to do porn. It wasn't their first pick of jobs for me. And then when I started doing kind of like the more extreme stuff, this is how I describe it. They're not supportive of their job, but they're supportive of me, and they always love me and have my back in, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
So I hope that makes sense.
Nice.
Did you have to get used to liking spunk? Like, was it an acquired taste, or did you
always liked it.
Okay.
Yeah. Especially when I did my first bukkake, that was when I was like, whoa.
What's spunk?
Cum. Jizz.
Oh, I mean, there's a limit here, right? So
there's a limit of spunk you can take. Well, this is what I'm also trying to...
No, hang on. Let me ask the question.
Go for
1
it.
second.
Okay.
There has to be a limit to the amount of crazier and crazy. So this happens in every industry, right? But especially in entertainment. You're trying to push the number for attention, right? And this is how you can stand out. So OnlyFans would be no different. Any industry would be this way. If you push the limit with the extremes, more attention is going to get focused on you. So sure, for marketing purposes, this is great, this type of thing. But there's only going to be so much of that, right? Because other people, they get involved in this type of stuff too. They start moving the goal for what the limit is. And there is definitely a limit. Like, there is physically only so many men you can sleep with in a day, only so many men who can hump you up the butt, or whatever the fuck it is that the next thing is that you're wanting to do. You're going to hit that threshold, right? And it'll be sooner rather than later, because there's only so much content you can push out. So what do you do post that exactly?
Well, when I mentioned that like I want to do extreme stuff, it didn't always mean numbers. Like with the skydive, that's not a numbers thing and things like that. So there isn't really a limit now.
No, I think there is. Like, you could do scuba dive blowjobs, right? But I'm sure
there's definitely not a limit now. I've got a very imaginative brain.
There literally has
She's creative.
to be, because there actually has to be a limit. So it's just.
I mean, I'm not going to give you all my ideas, but I could list off some stuff that you haven't seen before.
Like, she doesn't want her competitors to steal her shit, Andrew. Like, you gotta understand.
Yeah, but even
Andrew's trying to steal all my ideas.
Let's say you had 100 great ideas for content nobody's ever seen before, that kind of thing. You will hit a limit threshold.
When I'm 55 and ready to retire?
Yeah, but when you make more and more extreme content, you hit the threshold sooner rather than later. Like, let me give you some examples of this in other forms of media. So somebody comes out, recently Kanye West, he came out and he was like, he did the, like, I love Hitler thing, right? That drives a ton of attention to Kanye West. There's no doubt about it. But the problem is that he'd already done that, though it brought less attention this time. Where does he go from I heart Hitler? Where does he go next? Do you know what I mean? What's the next extremity you can actually go to from that? That's the same problem that you'll find in the same industry, right?
I feel like you're getting me wrong as well. Like, I'm not necessarily doing it, for attention. I want to create this unique content for my subscribers. I like to do really, relative content as well.
Well, then you would do it for free. But you don't.
Well, I do it for free. I do gangbangs in my personal life and things like that. I've always had a lot of sex, but I just put two and two together, something I love and something I can also monetize and mix them together, and it has honestly made the perfect job for me.
Right. So we had a gal on here once who said the exact same thing. Ended up becoming, at least by her metric, a Reformed Christian, and said that everything that she was saying earlier on the podcast was a complete lie, right? And that she was actually just doing that for.
Well, that's one of many.
The purpose of marketing. Hang on. I'll let you respond. I promise. But the thing is like, it does draw a large amount of media attention to you. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And you can say, well, I would just do it anyway because I just really, really, really like it. Okay, I can just kind of grant that. But even if it is the case that you just really, really like it and you're going to do it in your personal life anyway, you're going to go bang 1,000 men because you just love that shit, it wouldn't have anything to do with the fact that there's a threshold limit put on the extremes, right?
But I just debunked that earlier, that there's a ton of other ideas that I have that aren't necessarily with high numbers.
Yeah, no, I
see the lag. Yeah,
I get it, but that would still make my point. Like, there's still going to be a threshold.
Isn't this testable? Like, you could write down all those things?
I'm just wondering if there's a post-threshold, if you have, plans post-threshold for that.
I don't think you realize, how huge, the sex industry is and how many different routes you can take with content. Like, there's tons of things you can always do.
I'm not disputing that the sex industry is huge and that there's tons of different types of content you can do. I'm not disputing that. But when you're talking about the draw, so most women in OnlyFans don't make it. Almost the vast, vast, vast majority, of women who get in porn don't make it. The vast, vast majority. Well, it's because they don't have anything that makes them stand out, right? You have something here that makes you stand out, but that has limits too. And so the question that I'm asking is like, I can just base this on the general average. Almost nobody makes it in your industry, almost nobody. So
almost nobody. Don't think so.
Well, if that would be porn, OnlyFans, things like that, almost no woman makes it in those industries.
Makes it? As in makes it big, sorry. I thought you meant
Well, it makes it big or even makes enough money to support themselves. Most of them don't even make enough money to support themselves. The average OnlyFans, $200.
Yeah, no, I don't doubt that.
Yeah, they're hardly making anything. So it is definitely the multimedia attention and this type of thing which assists in the elevation of the amount of people who watch somebody's content. So you do have to think about what the threshold breakers are, like what happens when I reach whatever this zenith is. That could come very quickly. And so I'm just wondering if there's post plans to it.
I don't understand what question you're asking. Have I got enough content to last me my lifetime? And have I got enough ideas? I'm confused.
I'm saying that assuming that there's less media attention for your skydive blowjob than there was for a 1,000-man gangbang.
But for me, it's not always about media attention.
It's possible that there could be a massive decrease. In fact, it's likely as you get older and as you do more extreme content, there's going to be a massive decrease. So I'm just asking if there's post plans past what happens when that happens. That's all I'm asking. Yeah,
I definitely have post plans. I mean, I want to be in this industry for as long as I enjoy it. And for me right now, that's looking at 10, 20 years, honestly. But for me, it's also just not all about the media attention. I just genuinely do it for the love of it.
So you would do a skydive blowjob for free?
Yeah, I think that would be hilarious. Like, I can't wait to do it. I'm super gassed to do it.
So then all the money that you make from that, are you going to give it to charity?
What has that got to do with it? What has me being charitable got to do with this?
Are you going to give it to charity, or are you going to keep it?
I couldn't care less if I gave money to charity. Like, the money for me...
Can you give me some?
Can I be your charity?
The money for me is a plus. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to hear saying, you know, but everyone does stuff for money. Like, that's why we fucking have jobs.
I'm not disputing that either. I'm just saying that if you say that the motivation is there and it has nothing to do with the money, I would do it anyway.
No, I'm not saying it's nothing.
Final thought.
There's just like, it's different aspects. I love it. It's also pays me. Like, those are just two great recipes together. Why would I not want to do it?
Yeah, right, exactly. So then if there's monetary gain here, right, and I assume that there is, and there is, this is directly proportional to the amount of publicity that you get for the various things that you do. However, women often, especially in your industry, hit walls with that very quickly. Just like B-list actors will have a breakout movie and then it goes right down. It's very hard to keep yourself on top for an elongated period of time. That's why I'm asking the question.
Well, I'll keep you updated in 10 years.
All right, we have to leave it there. Moving on. So you said you did the bow and then your boyfriend reacted.
Oh, yeah. That's because I saw an episode on your podcast. Oops, sorry. It was when my boyfriend did not really react. I just agreed.
Here's whatever they say in the UK. Thank you, Kaiser.
Candace had a bunch of really mean things that she said about me. Even though I've never talked about her or even discussed her or even knew anything about her, she said some really mean things. Essentially the video, Brian. I would actually like her to respond to all the mean things that she said. She made a lot of horrible allegations, too, that weren't true.
I don't know is this something you want to get into, or...
I mean, if that's what you want to spend...
I would like to get into it because you said some pretty mean things about me. And what did I ever do to you? I didn't kick your puppy or anything.
Well, no, but I think you would probably agree, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if you decide to be on the internet and make content, then you're going to be subject to other people having an opinion on it, no?
Yeah, the great thing is, though, is that when I make commentary on what other people say, I don't lie and do my research. You lied multiple times.
What did I lie about?
About me.
Yeah,
well, you made here's the most serious allegation. You said that I had a belief that if men cheat and women cheat, that it's okay for men to cheat and not okay for women to cheat. Or, I'm sorry, vice versa. It's okay for men to cheat, not okay for women, right?
I don't know if it was...
Not only have I literally never said that once, the opposite, in fact, emphatically. You also pulled me in with red pillars, of which I'm not. I'm a Christian ethicist, right? You lied over and over and over because you didn't do any research whatsoever. And I would like you to answer as to why you think it's okay to lie about people on the internet who have never done anything to you.
Well, I certainly didn't lie, and you'd have to pull up the exact tweet where I'm naming you specifically.
I don't need the tweet. I have the clip. I sent it to Brian.
I know, but it has to be addressing who I'm talking about because you've had multiple male hosts.
You say my name, Andrew. You say my name, Andrew, and then go through and accuse me of these things.
Do I say Andrew?
Yes.
I don't know. Okay, we can pull it, and then maybe I'm not sure.
I mean, I need to pre-. Andrew, you sent it to me 20 minutes before the show. I didn't have time to review it. I have to pre-screen it before I show it live. Were you talking about Andrew Tate?
No, it could have been Andrew. No, it could absolutely have been Andrew Tate, and then there have been. Well, hold on, because you're asking a question. I'm not being allowed to ask it.
I'm referencing whatever, unless Andrew Tate is.
No, it could have been whatever. But here's I didn't know your name until I was coming on the show. To be honest, so if I said Andrew, it could have been me misspeaking because there have been other men that were hosting on here, and then it was a clip that I don't even know how old it was. I think it was a different studio as well. It was referring to one of the male, either host or guest, and I'm not sure what his role was.
That was me.
Okay, so then why would I say it about you if you didn't say it? There was a clip on this podcast with...
That's what's in question. I don't know why you would attribute...
Well, then I would have to find the clip in question, so that's not...
You don't have to, because I sent it.
No, I'm saying I would have to... Oh my goodness, this isn't a conversation. I'm saying I would have to find the clip that I was commentating on, because it is possible that maybe I said the wrong name. And if that's true, I would apologize. My intention is not to lie, but there was absolutely a clip that I saw on this podcast, and I don't know if it was a host or a guest, and the argument was that if and I don't think it was you, I think it was a younger host, and maybe he wasn't a host, maybe he was a guest, but he was saying that if a man was abusing his wife, that it was the wife's duty to seek counseling within the church and not divorce, but if the woman cheated, that would be grounds for divorce. Like, that was the clip that was circulating. Is it possible that it got edited and what I watched was not true? And that's what I'm saying. If I was prepared, I could come with the clip that I was commentating on. And if the clip was inaccurate, or if I said the name, I will apologize without like any embarrassment whatsoever, because I don't want to misspeak or lie. That's not my intention. But I can't do that because I don't have the clip. I don't even have a phone.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't debunk this if we can't play it. But what I am going to say is this: is like, it definitely was an attribution and a mischaracterization of anything I've ever said, and total nonsense. So yeah, I did want to get into it, but if we can't get into it, we can't get into it.
Yeah, and again, I don't think I was saying it about you because I don't know the guy's name. He's like clean cut, younger dude.
They could have just been me without a beard.
No, I'm sure it wasn't you, because the guy, like, he looked like he was in his 20s.
Okay. And his name was Andrew.
I don't know that I don't have the clip, so I can't say it. And if I said Andrew, it could have been me just using the wrong name, because I literally had my producer like send me little bios of you guys before I came here.
You said, and quote, those guys who host that show, right? They like nothing better than to be in a room so that they can abuse women, and you'll never see them debating with men.
Well, and you would say that there have been good conversations on the internet with you that are treating women with respect. Like, that's what this podcast is known for, is really reasonable conversations where everyone is mutually talking to each other with respect.
Yeah, that has not. Let's assume for a second everybody's always fighting on here and yelling at each other and screaming at each other. So what? That has nothing to do with your claim that the men on here would much rather be sitting across from women and debating with women, because they're essentially, you're inferring that they're a bunch of cowards. And here's the thing that's so funny, is like, I actually am quite famous for debating men around the world, especially on these topics, right? It's in some ways, right? I've been accused of it's not dignified enough for me to give you guys even the time of day. Mm-hmm. Yet I think that is actually a very mean-spirited thing to say. I think that you guys deserve, if you have arguments and things like that, to have them heard out. That almost seems like it's anti-misogynistic to me, and that you have a misogynistic position.
Well, I don't believe that that's true at all. I don't think that you're genuinely here to like listen or change opinions on anything, and because that doesn't make good content.
Change thousands upon thousands of opinions. It may not change yours, but remember that these clips and views go out to millions of people, mm-hmm. and the idea is not. And this is every debate which exists, by the way. The idea is not necessarily to change the opponent's mind. The opponent is there to represent their worldview, and I'm here to represent mine. It is not necessarily to change your mind, though that has happened too. It ultimately is to put our worldviews against each other and see which one makes more sense, at least to the general public. So, yeah, I think I've changed tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of minds even.
Sure, but I mean, to push back on the idea that you would be accepting of having men on the show, there have been multiple times, and for example, there was a Navy SEAL friend of mine that was supposed to come on the show with a girl to do the debate, flew in, and was turned down at the door after they paid for all of their expenses. And I've heard several of those stories. And then I was supposed to come on with a friend too, who is former special ops. He couldn't come on because he ended up having to shoot a movie. We were going to replace him, and they're like, actually, no, we don't want any men, and if you want, you could bring a girlfriend. So, I mean, that's not entirely honest either.
I've debated many men on the show.
Hold on, Andrew. Let me address that. So let's address your first point. Who came on who was turned away from the door? Literally never happened. Totally fake news, but who was it?
Oh, I don't have the name. It was like a friend of a friend, and a
so
guess.
Just to be clear,
it's a SEAL that's going around and saying that.
We booked a Navy SEAL.
So it didn't happen?
Yeah, I mean, so you're claiming we booked a Navy SEAL. He showed up at the door. That's what I heard. He was scheduled to be on the show.
With a female,
a female, and he was turned away.
Yeah.
This is entirely fake news. Do you know who the girl was?
No, and then I also heard, from like 1 Degree Away, and I'm not gonna like say his name, but that he's had friends come on the show and like their mic was muted the whole time, and
or that
the content gets edited in a way to like make them look bad.
Well, hold on. we can address some of those
Sure.
different arguments, but let's start with the one of us turning a Navy SEAL away at the door. First off, are you sure he was booked? Because sometimes women will show up with a dude.
No, I'm not. And maybe that was misunderstood.
Like, girls will show up with like a +1 that wasn't cleared by us, and we're like the only people who we allow in the building have to be scheduled to be on the show. Sometimes girls will bring their boyfriends and they'll try to like, oh, can I hop on the show? I don't even think I've talked to a Navy SEAL and I do all the guest booking.
Okay.
So I'm very close and familiar to who does and does not come on the show. This is entirely fabricated.
Okay.
So I don't know why some Navy SEAL, you'd assume this is a person of good moral character, is lying about being booked on the show.
Clip I sent you, that particular accusation, she makes it in the clip.
I saw the clip.
This person, showed up at the door, everything was paid for, they were invited, this type of thing, totally fabricated.
Absolutely fabricated.
Here's why I take issue with it, right? To be fair. Why is it that I'm not allowed to ask you, like, did you ever even reach out to Brian to confirm that? Did you ever do any research on it before you decided that you'd put that out there to thousands upon thousands of people? You didn't even bother, right? You didn't even bother to even ask about it. You just put it out there. And it's like, so of course I consider that to be slanderous and lying and nonsense, right? Because, did you do any due diligence to verify?
How many episodes do you have men on that have opposing opinions? So it's just pattern recognition. So if me saying that you don't have men on debate, you don't have men on debate. Look at the table right now. You don't have men on to debate.
Yeah, how's that relevant to the actual false accusation?
No, it's relevant to saying that you don't have men on to debate. And
we've had Destiny's, who's like one of the strongest left-wing
That's one person,
debaters.
so it's almost like that exception is actually proving the rule. Like if it was normal that you would have
that's the format of the show.
Sure, exactly though. So why is that the format? But why is it always just women?
But okay, how does that pertain?
Not always just women.
It's usually just women. The other thing is the exception.
Hold on, we brought on Bevo. Well, hold on, Bevo's not a good.
I've done a multitude of debates on whatever between myself and men, just by ourselves in the studio, in fact. And there's been other times where there's been men on these panels, and I'm happy to debate them. I debate with men all over the world.
Use stats, right? What % are men?
We need a spreadsheet.
But how does that pertain to the false accusation? Like that's a totally.
It's a red herring.
Yeah, I don't know if it's shifting the goalposts or whatever, but I'd almost be prepared to do a wager here. If you can provide any sort of evidence, mind you, I've spoken to thousands of people, right? I'm so confident that this is totally fabricated and made up, that a Navy SEAL showed up at our door, we had him on schedule, and then we're like, oh, actually, no. Fuck you. You spent all this money to come here. Never happened.
Okay,
show me the evidence. Show me the.
I'm happy to inquire about it for sure.
Show me the proof.
Yeah.
I will pay. You know what? Do you want to do a wager on this? I'm ready to do a wager.
No, I'm not betting because I have no idea. I don't have skin in the game.
He's just joking around, right? We're on YouTube. Brian would never make a wager. What he's saying is like he's just so confident in.
I'm very confident.
That he was being a bit tongue-in-cheek there, but ultimately that's why I wanted to address this, because I'm like, well, okay, like how many fabrications has this girl made about this podcast and about its host that are just completely not true, but then they get out of the ethos like they are true.
Well, no, and then so anecdotally speaking, obviously that doesn't say anything at scale, but I think the first time I was invited on the show was probably like 2 or 3 years ago, and it was in response to a clip that I had going, was called Canceled Weekly with Gerard Michaels and Mickey Gall.
Sure.
And the response was to have me come on, but not the other two co-hosts that were male. And so that
I'll look at the message history and
I don't know if it was to me or Gerard, if like there was a group, I'm not sure.
Sure.
But like the invitation was extended to them, and then when JT was supposed to come and then that got canceled, then the response was
got canceled by him.
No, yeah, for sure.
We had, just to be clear, we had you and him.
Yeah, not canceled by him. Or no, I'm sorry, not canceled by you, by him. Yeah, absolutely.
So we were prepared to have him and you on the show. He canceled, and then we were like, well, do you still want to come? fine, you didn't want to do it. But yeah, no, I reached out. You reacted to this clip of me having a back and forth with this obnoxious woman who came on intentionally to troll the show, and I had to kick her off the show. But as it pertains to the kind of initial reach out, which was back in February of 2024, you said you wanted to be a guest, but the stipulation is the guys have to be able to join. And I said we could accommodate one of your male guests. So we didn't outright deny them, but I was like, well, we can have one. We typically only like to book 2 people together.
Okay.
It's just kind of our policy.
And here's my further challenge. You can get anybody who you want who has issues with any of my views who's a man. You can stack that whole panel. I'll fly out there and debate all of them in person happily. And here's exactly what will happen. Nothing. They'll all lose the debate. I'll laugh hysterically. That'll be, it's a perfect day. Like, go let them know.
Okay.
Yeah. No, and just to like actually, and if you want to verify this, but in March, I said we could accommodate one of your male co-hosts, and I asked if you primarily want to debate the kickoff of that one girl who came on and trolled, to which you didn't respond. I checked in a week later, checked in 2 weeks later. Hey, just wanted to follow up one last time, see if you're still interested. Did not hear from you until September of 2024. Wanted to see if there's still an invitation. JT, he wants to come on. And then, let's see, we locked you in for, or wait, hold on. When did we lock you in for? We were in a group chat, so I don't see. It
disappeared, I think.
We were in a group chat, so I don't see and then we shifted the conversation over there. We had you scheduled at some time in the fall. He canceled a week prior because of a movie. I don't know, whatever. Not a big deal. People have to reschedule. Not a big thing. But I think that would indicate that we were prepared to have a male guest on.
The clip title says Andrew Wilson Cringe. Just so you know, my name is Andrew Wilson, and there's never been, to my knowledge, another Andrew Wilson on the Whatever
don't make
podcast.
the
I'm
clips.
just letting you know that the clip is called Andrew Wilson Cringe. It sure seems like you are referencing me. If it's called Andrew Wilson, I'm just...
That's the editor, unless my mouth said your name, which I don't think it did.
It did. Here. I mean, it did. It said Andrew, and then it says Andrew Wilson Cringe. It's
okay,
like,
so I was probably talking about Tate, and then the editors probably put your name. I have no idea because I don't have the clip.
Why
and again,
would you be referencing Tate?
I don't know. I don't have the clip. I don't have the clip.
Okay.
Okay. Look. Sorry, guys. I mean, I don't want to linger too long on the meta conversation because it's, whatever. But, and wait, just really one thing.
Yeah.
Just Andrew, he wants to pull up the clip. You said that there were like other people who, like, we kicked them out or like we, like, denied them at the door?
That's what I heard, yeah. From like a friend.
We denied them at the friends.
Like it was my friend's friend, and like he didn't see him like a liar. So yeah.
Wait, so just so I understand the situation correctly, we had him on schedule. Like he showed up.
That was what was.
No, but he showed up, and we're like.
That's what I was told.
Sorry.
That's what I was told. That it was only like only the woman was allowed on. So yeah,
never happened.
Okay.
Never happened. If you can,
I can't argue because I don't have any. I don't have anything, so I'm not arguing. I feel like we're like trying to make an argument when I'm saying I don't have an argument.
No, I'm not really arguing with you. I just want to clear the air.
Yeah, I'm not.
I think it would be kind of rude to like invite somebody on. They spend money to come here, and then we're just like, oh, fuck you.
I know.
Like we've never done that.
It sounds crazy.
That would be super fun.
We've never done that. Never. I mean. I mean, there's like opposition.
Fact, I can give you a story of a time where there's been regret. Like Brian's like, maybe I shouldn't have invited this person, but man, they spent this money to come out here, so I'm going to let them on anyway, right? Like that's more Brian's attitude than the alternative.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't know why people are making up these lies. I'd be curious to see. I mean, you don't have to show me, but obviously not now on the podcast. But I'd be curious to see the actual basis for these claims because it's completely dubious and false. But and also like I mean, I don't know. Anyways, whatever. Why don't we just play the clip and then we'll move on to the next thing. Who took fucking?
This is not 320p that I'm talking about.
Go ahead, just play it.
And I'm pretty sure I've seen
Boost the audio.
Speak on this is if a woman cheats or she's unfaithful because her man's not, then he should just leave her, right? So a guy's allowed to exit the relationship, and her behavior is never justifiable.
Here, I'll do it.
If he cheats, nothing but compassion, she deserved it. So just super hypocritical. Duty sex is terrible, but also don't weaponize it. So it's a this and thing, and you have to check in with it. And I'm curious how long any of these people have been married and how many children they have and how happy they are, because there's also this idea that no matter what, you have to stay in a relationship, especially if there's kids. And I don't know that that's true. I think that they deserve to see their parents in love, and if you can't make that happen, I think there are way worse things by sticking it out for the kids. That's something I've kind of come around on as well. So I don't know. I hate this person so bad. We were actually supposed to go, me and a friend go on the show. I don't think it's going to happen because we did some due diligence, and they in the past have brought on a Navy SEAL. He flies all the way to Northern California to do the show. Knock, knock. Actually, we don't want to have you on. And it's because if you bring on a man, especially an alpha, these guys cannot stand it. They cannot stand it. All they want to do is sit across from women and bully them and badger them and dunk on them. And it's just an excuse to exercise actual sexism. And I don't use that word a lot because I don't think that it is as prevalent as it used to be and as much of a problem. But with this community, it absolutely is. Please don't get your relationship advice from there. Like, look for healthy, healed, whole, masculine role models. This is not it. If you are blaming half of the population for all of your problems and the answer is it's always just women, it's always just e-girls, it's always whatever, you might be the problem, buddy.
So this was on duty sex. This wasn't on the beating or the divorce or cheating. I think that was in reference to a duty sex tweet.
Yeah, got it. It was.
That's not what we were talking about earlier, though. We weren't talking about duty sex earlier.
It's referencing me, and the position is actually incorrect. Again, the referent is wrong.
Do we have your tweet on duty sex?
Incorrect. What's that?
Do we have the tweet that was on duty sex?
Yeah, so this is what you're referencing is we're talking from a Christian paradigm. So from a Christian, it's not a statement that women have or don't have duty sex. It's a statement from the position of the Christian or the Muslim paradigm, or let's say, X paradigm, that within that paradigm there is a duty that women have to fulfill the obligation of the marriage. And part of that would be sex, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it just seems like we're talking about we're talking about different things, because initially we were talking about abuse and cheating and divorce, and then now we're circling to duty sex. And then when I see Rachel Wilson in the comments, I don't make my titles. I don't think anyone does. So when it says that, that's not me. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, but you said you did your due diligence. We did our due diligence. We checked into this, and the whole thing's bullshit. What due diligence did you do?
I'm commenting on a tweet on duty sex. That's what I was doing.
Yeah, no. You said we did our due diligence when it came to the Navy SEAL and this type of thing.
Oh, my due diligence was asking references that I trusted. So, I mean,
Why
if you're
didn't you ask Brian? Wouldn't that be your due diligence?
Well, no, it wouldn't, because if I don't believe that he's an honest actor, because we've never met before, and all I've seen is like
can I ask you one? Yeah. Can I ask you one question?
Well, no, every time you ask me a question, I get cut off, and then if I try to talk, then you guys are like, no, let me finish.
Look,
so it's different
talked
rules
way
for
more
everybody.
than we have, just so you know. But go ahead.
You're asking what my due diligence was, and I was saying that I asked people that have said that they were either on the show, came on the show, their experience. Mm-hmm. So it's people that I would know or trust. So to reach out to someone that I already kind of see as a position of being in an adversarial position, like there's not really there's not trust built. So if you say something, I don't know you or your character.
Yeah,
so
that's totally fine. I mean, just one question though. Did you hear it directly from the said Navy SEAL?
I can't say. I'm not.
No, but like sometimes
throwing people under the bus.
A friend told you that they knew somebody who knew a Navy SEAL. Like, was it?
I can't, because it's going to give people away. I know. I'm sorry, but it's not.
I'm not asking who it is. I'm just asking. Did you hear it from the person?
I know, but the line of questioning is going to like throw certain people under the bus, and I'm not.
I mean, they threw me under the bus, but that's fine. Whatever. In any case,
don't even like reporters. When
I'm not a reporter.
Have a story that they're commenting on.
I've never claimed to be a reporter.
Contact the source and verify it. Like, just ask them, hey, did this even happen? Like, how hard would that have been? If it's due diligence, like, how hard would it have actually been to just say, hey, did this actually happen?
I guess we disagree on how I should have approached it, and that's fine.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm guessing that you would not appreciate me putting a video out to hundreds of thousands of people, which was filled with besmirching lies about you, if I didn't do my, quote, due diligence. And maybe, like, I would have just DM'd you. I would have been like, hey, is this actually true? Like, is this actually what's going on? And then I get the other side of the story, right? I'm sure you would actually appreciate that more, wouldn't you?
I mean, I would, absolutely. But if I have full trust in someone else and they tell me something and they've done nothing to allude to the fact that, like, I need to be doubting what they're saying, then Like, why wouldn't I believe them?
Because you did your due diligence.
I guess,
that's what it means, right? Due diligence. But anyway, all right.
I mean, also just to, like, I guess, provide you with an opportunity to potentially even verify the story. Like, if you want to get up and, like, text the individual and be like, hey, is this, like, do you have any evidence for this? Like, what were the
I can ask,
exchanges?
and then I can ask if he's willing for me to share it. Sure, I could do that. I'm happy to.
I mean, I feel like it would be important for a Navy SEAL to, like, that seems kind of like a position of I don't know. Integrity, honor.
Position.
Like, he should clear this up.
I agree.
I think he should clear it up.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't know.
Sure.
That seems fair.
Yeah, I'm willing to text.
Like,
I'm willing to text the person. Yeah.
That seems reasonable, but
yeah.
I mean, I can tell you, just totally.
Yeah, I'm not trying to argue. I'm willing to ask.
That's totally fine. Yeah, that's totally fine. But and you said there were, like, other people who also got turned away. I was curious about that too.
It was the same person. Not the same individual, like the same person, like, was putting feelers out, and they've had I don't know the girls' names, but, like, a bunch of, like, their girlfriends have come on, and, like, they were sharing stories with him, and then, like, there was a couple stories where guys got turned away, but it could have been what you were saying, right, where they weren't approved and they weren't supposed to be on the show in the first place.
I mean, we get dozens of messages a day of people requesting to be on the show.
Well, no, like
so when it comes to I mean, we turn people down if they DM us, hey, can I come on the show? We send them a very thoughtful message. Like, we don't just, like, most people just ignore DMs like that. Every single person who DMs us, even if we're not interested in having them on the show, we say, hey, unfortunately at this time, we can't have you on. It's a little more diplomatic than that, but can't have you on the show. But we'll keep your DMs. If anything changes, we'll be sure to reach out. So we turn people down, like, in the DMs, but we've never had somebody, like, booked to be on the show, and then they come to the studio at the door. You can't be on the. Never has happened ever. Hasn't happened to a male. Hasn't happened to any women.
Sure, so, I appreciate you clarifying. I'm, like I said, I'm happy to do the text.
Actually, you know what? There was one woman who she showed up unannounced with a service animal. It was like a chihuahua. That shit was not a service animal. And I was like, and it was barking. It was barking. And normally we would try to accommodate somebody with a service animal, but it was clearly not a service animal. It was not trained to do a certain task, and it was barking, which would not be a reasonable. It would not be a reasonable accommodation. Like, we're recording audio. We can't have a barking dog in the studio. So in that instance, we did turn her away. Although we did offer her, like, she came with a friend. I was like, can your friend watch the dog? That's the only instance where we're just like, we can't have the barking dog in the studio, and we turned her down. That's the only that's come to we've ever turned anybody away, and for good reason. But yeah.
Again.
All right, whatever.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. There is hope in Jesus Christ. He will never leave you or forsake you. Like and subscribe and join our Discord for friends and more.